Hey guys, so thanks so much for joining me again today. So today I'm going to do quite a bit of an interesting video. It's more of a Q&A, question and answer session. And on July 3rd, I asked folks, my followers on my Instagram, my friends, that what was the most difficult part about transitioning from high school to university? And I know a lot of kids during this COVID are just jumping into university blind, and they may not even know what they're getting themselves into. So I'm doing this bit of a video to inspire kids and talk about my university experience. And the best way to do that is through this medium, seeing other people's answers and just adding a little bit of my own my own answers on top of theirs. So yeah, let's see how things go. Avery 94 Pope asks, figuring out the why. I'm in university question. Without that, I wouldn't have had a reason to be in uni. Okay, that's a really good question or an answer. The why in university. So a lot of kids go to university thinking that, okay, I'm doing this degree, but after I graduate, I have no idea what I'm doing. So really figuring out why is the best place to start. Do a little bit of self-reflection when you're in grade 12 or applying to universities. Self-reflect. What are your values? What do you value in life? How do you want to contribute to the world? What role do you want to play? So all of us in life, we play roles, okay? Whether you're an engineer, doctor, a father, a mother, okay? And no role is greater than the other. Pursuing your ambitions is the first place to start. I'm gonna pursue this ambition, but I can also make money from this and have a career. You may discover your why, okay? I went into the nuclear engineering program and I wanted to be part of the nuclear industry, okay? I wanted to break into that industry, but slowly I discovered the environmental benefits of nuclear, its impact on preventing climate change, and my why became so much greater. It became, okay, I'm in this to save the world. I'm in this to take away common misconceptions that people have, to educate people on nuclear. So for me, my why kind of developed over time. So I wouldn't be afraid to take that leap and start discovering your why, but it takes a lot of self-reflection in the process. So to find out the why and why I want to go to university in the first place, like Avery said, is to start off there, to start off with the why, self-reflect, and keep doing that. You have to do that in order to succeed. Arash Sharif replies, group work. You're right. In high school, you're doing just a few labs for science class, chemistry, whether it be physics. So you're just doing a handful of labs and you're not really interacting with many groups. I wasn't doing too many group projects, just a handful. University is a lot of group projects. It's a lot of group work. And a lot of the times you don't have control over who's going to be in your group. Okay? And I'm sure you'll experience this during this COVID situation. You don't know anyone in your class. You can't see them. And you're going to randomly have to guess by the sound of the names. So group work is difficult because if someone doesn't pull their weight, you're screwed. Okay? I've had some crazy stories with group work where someone's caught cheating. Someone cheats. One person. Luckily not in my groups, but I've been really lucky in the past. Someone cheats, and as a result, everyone gets that on their transcript, even though they didn't participate in that. So group work can be difficult. It's a risk that you're taking, and it's a lot of trust that you're putting into other people. Group work is a huge transition from high school to university. And I know engineering students are pretty much they're not the strongest at group work, okay? They lack those social skills. So it's even more difficult, even a bigger challenge to do group work. But when you go into the industry, you're going to be doing group work regardless. You're going to be interacting with tons of different people from different backgrounds, from different professions, and you need to develop those skills, those people skills to interact with people. Personally, for me, I love group work. I was okay with it at first, but I started to love it because I'm a people's person, and I feel I can interact with people and really work together on a single group project. Ben Sanderson says handling the freedom and responsibility. Wow, that is one of the most important. The freedom and responsibility is huge. In high school, you're the age of 18, okay, and your whole life you've been pampered by your parents. Your parents take care of the bills. They take care of putting food on the table. They take care of everything, your laundry. Okay, from A to Z, your life is being taken care of. And when you go to university, you have a lot of freedom. So you have a lot of time. You can come 4 a.m. in the morning back home. No one's gonna say anything. But there's a lot of responsibility because you're taking care of yourself. You gotta pay your bills. You gotta pay your rent. You gotta pay for your food, and you have to make sure you're a responsible adult. It reminds me of this book that I read. It's called Man's Search for Meaning, and written by Viktor Frankl. And Viktor Frankl says that I wish that on the West Coast there was another statue similar to the Statue of Liberty that's on the East Coast. I wish with liberty, so with freedoms, it comes responsibility. So I wish with the Statue of Liberty, there was also a statue of responsibility. So with great freedom comes great responsibility, right? Like, I think Spider-Man's uncle told him that, Uncle Ben. So Ben, thank you. Very similar to Uncle Ben's response. Yeah, make sure that you're being accountable for that freedom. Use it wisely. Make sure you know what you're up to, right? What do you value? Do you value partying, making friends, having fun? Do you value your education and just getting a high GPA? Do you value your career? Do you value networking? Or do you value all of these things, a holistic approach? So you have to dedicate your time management, financial acumen. Just putting in that time and focusing on those goals is what you need in terms of having that freedom. Dev responds, the lack of emphasis on learning. That is huge. So thank you, Dev. In high school, your teachers are literally spoon feeding you, okay? You come into class, teacher says, okay, kids, take out your books, take down these notes. And if you're not taking down notes, your teacher will call you out and say, hey, start taking down notes. What are you doing? In university, there's none of that, okay? You're in a lecture hall full of 3, 4, 5, 600 kids, and the teacher does not give a shit, okay? They're gonna be kids in the very back row playing League of Legends, click, 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 click. The prof does not care. I didn't really know how to learn until I came to university. University really opens the door for self-learning. When you learn something yourself, when you dedicate your attention, your heart, and your mind to learning that thing under the threat of failing an exam, you start learning very quick. Okay. The most difficult part about transitioning from high school to university is self-learning and not being spoon-fed by someone. And you really start developing your own ways of learning. So everyone has a different learning style. Some people are group learners. They learn really well in small groups. There's others that they like to isolate themselves and learn that way. There's also auditory learners. They learn by listening. There's visual learners. They learn by seeing. There's learners that learn by just writing down things and just absorbing that. I had to learn that learning style. I'm a people's person. I love people. And I thought, okay, my learning style is probably in group work. and I was wrong. I learned more individually studying. Okay, if you want to find me on campus when I was in university, you'd find me at the silent room. Okay, this room was so silent where even if you cough, like someone would be there to tell you to shut up, right? So pin drop silence is the environment that I've thrived on and where I've learned the best. And you will slowly find out through experimentation what your learning style is. And Ali Siddiqui asks, coming from a typical Indian boys' high school, I was too anxious about studying with girls. All right. I had quite the opposite experience. I came from a school that had quite a lot of women. I came to Ontario Tech. There just wasn't many women. The ratio was just skewed. So my university was more of an engineering university, and it had a lot of guys. And obviously, I didn't have too much trouble, but I felt like a good balance would have been nice. Yeah, so I didn't have that experience, but I could totally understand if you come from a school where there's all guys, and you go to a school where you're interacting with women. It's a very different environment, and I think, yeah, I can emphasize with that, but that's pretty funny. Aktas Malik says, what to do with my freedom? LOL, brown girl things. Yeah, so freedom is another answer, and yeah, a lot of groups, a lot of different groups, like for example, girls coming from South Asian background, they may have not as much freedom, and all of a sudden you have this huge amount of freedom, and you're like, wow, like the doors are open, and I can do whatever I want. Okay, I have friends from countries like Saudi Arabia where they can't drink, they can't party, and when they come to Canada, keys of freedom are open. You can party, you can have fun, and it's just getting used to that freedom and keeping it in moderation, keeping the fun in moderation. So yeah, I totally understand that. Okay, Tylene Gal says, moving away from home. Yeah, moving away from home is difficult. I missed my parents a lot when I missed my little siblings when I moved to university, and it's a tough transition. You're changing your environment, and you're gonna miss your old environment. Even as a domestic student, I lived like an hour away from university, or an hour and a half, but I slowly, I think, keep busy. The best way get over moving from home is just be busy. Join activities, join like the engineering society, join the student union, join sports team, right? If you really have time. If you're an engineering student, you won't have time for that. Just join different groups, network, spend your time in productive things. That's what I would recommend. And slowly, that feeling of missing home is gonna eventually fade away. So you'll get used to it real quick. Danielle Qureshi, he says, accountability and building a new routine. Accountability is huge. And what really helps you is the people around you. Surrounding yourself with driven, motivated friend, a strong friend group keeps you accountable. I would see my friends here and there on campus and ask them, hey, did you finish that assignment? Or, hey, how's that assignment going? And if they said, oh yeah, I finished it last week, I would feel like garbage, and I would get on it real quick. Just keeping in touch with, having that strong group of friends keeps the accountability structure that, okay, you are accountable, and you are keeping up with your tasks. You are going to the gym on time. You have a gym buddy. You have friends that you can depend on for schoolwork. That, okay, are we doing this? Are we done? And a routine. You need a routine in university. You need things that anchor you to that lifestyle, right? For me, it was carrying my gym bag around. Okay, I always used to have my gym bag, even if I wasn't going to the gym. And I used to carry that so that it forced me to go to the gym. That, okay, I'm carrying this heavy bag, I need to go to the gym. Waking up at a specific time or sleeping at a certain time. Creating that routine is really important. And I think habits, the key to success are habits, okay? Without habits, you will not succeed. You won't one day get a 4.0 GPA. You have to work up to that. You have to start small. And I think habits are the foundation for your routines. I'll be making a video on habits very soon because I think developing habits really changed my life. And I agree with you, Danielle. Having accountability and a strong routine is one of the most important steps. Rida says, career advice. We are more limited in high school awareness to mainstream jobs. Definitely. In high school, I didn't know what a nuclear engineer did. Okay. In high school, I didn't know what a petroleum engineer did. In high school, I barely knew what an engineer did. There are courses that you take in high school, like civics and careers, that open the doors to understanding different careers, but I don't think it's sufficient. You know, as the years go by, there are careers that have just been destroyed, right? Like the pharmaceutical, as a pharmacist, a lot of things are becoming automated. So that job may not exist in the future. Rida's right. Like there aren't, in high school, I had a lot of trouble finding resources to find careers, right? Like my father was a chemist, so I did have an understanding of the STEM careers and what route I would take if I went down that path. But other than that, it was very difficult to get career advice. And that was a big transition. When you go to high school, when you go to university, you're seeing the alumni. Those alumni are so important in passing down that knowledge, that experience. Okay, I graduated and I'm doing this job, so it gives you some comfort that if you do the same thing as me, you can be successful. So there you have it, guys. The transition from high school to university is a very difficult one. It's a life-changing experience. Post-COVID, it's going to be very different, but I really hope this video helped. And just sharing a bit of 2 cents about my experiences, and hope you enjoyed.